Hello and welcome to my very messy office. I'm Charly Loper and I'm the city manager for Bessemer. We are a really small town, so as the city manager, I run the day-to-day operations. We do have a city council who is made up of 5 people, and these 5 people are all elected every 2 years. But essentially, they don't do the day-to-day operation. They hire me to run things. So I am considered an appointed official, not an elected official. The council sets the policies and I execute them. They also determine our priorities. So every year we sit down and we say, what do we want to accomplish this year? And then I will bring things to them on a regular basis. So say one of the things that they decide we need to do is help with determining our water rates. So what I will do is then I will go back to our engineers, I'll talk with our Department of Public Works, and I will come put together some recommendations and bring it to the city council. And they're the ones who make the final decision on that. I really love my job because I can actually make a difference in my local community. Right now with national politics, everything is so divided and just contentious. And so what I really like about my job is that I can work to try to bring people together at the local level and try to leave national politics out of things. Also, what's really cool about my job is that virtually everything you see in a community went through the city government. So we're talking almost every building that's built in the local community, all the playgrounds, roads, sidewalks, all of that went through the city government. So to talk about community development, this is my favorite part of the job. I get to work with others to make our community a better place for our residents, both current residents and future residents. So when I first came to the city of Bessemer, one of the things that we really worked on was creating a brand for our community. So we chose the Be Bessemer brand. This was a really fun project because I got to bring together all sorts of volunteers from the community and people who are really passionate about the city of Bessemer. And we just talked about what makes our community so awesome and what we can do to really promote our community. Another thing that came out of this branding was that we created videos about Bessemer to help attract young people to move back into the area. So we have a lot of people who love the community, they graduate from high school and they go off into the cities to experience the world and to see new things, which is awesome. But then we want to bring them back to our area because Bessemer is a pretty cool place to live. And so these videos are to help bring people back to our community, to remind them why our community is so special. We get to do other fun projects for community development also. So we had spent some time talking with our community to see what they wanted in the town. And we have this remote neighborhood that's kind of far away from the rest of the town, and the thing that they really wanted was a playground so their children wouldn't have to walk a long ways. It's about like 2 miles on a busy street to access one in the rest of our community. So we applied for some grant funding and put in a playground. And it's just these sorts of fun community projects that can help bring the community together and just things that I love about my job. One thing I don't like about my job is dealing with zoning. This is such an important part of my job, but it's also the least fun because I have to tell people no with zoning. And I have to tell them what they can and cannot do on their property. So what zoning does is it helps separate uses. So for example, you wouldn't want a noisy, stinky asphalt plant to move right next to your house in a residential area. So zoning helps prevent this. Likewise, someone near the downtown area couldn't put a horse on their 100-foot by 100-foot lot. That's not fair for the horse, and it's also not fair for the neighbor to have to deal with a constant smell of manure. Zoning is also used to keep people safe. So when this comes up is, if people are building a new building, we have to make sure that it's far enough away from an intersection so people can see around the corner when they're driving. If I didn't pay close enough attention, maybe a building was put right near the road and you couldn't really see around the intersection and it could cause an accident. I also make sure that houses aren't built too close together. So if one of the houses catches on fire, it doesn't burn the neighbor's house down as well. Zoning is super important, and It's something that I need to do for my job, but it can be a little stressful to tell people that they can't do certain things on their property. But at the same time, I realize that this does help make our community a better place. Another fun part of my job is working with businesses. So we have a downtown development authority. This is a group that is run by volunteers. It's a 9-person board. This group gets funding from our downtown area. Some of the property taxes stay in this pot of funds to help develop our downtown. And this group does a lot of cool things. They help businesses get started. So if a new business wants to move into our downtown, we can help them with some rental assistance and that sort of thing. This group also helps fix up the fronts of buildings. So if we have a building that just needs a facelift, we can help out. We also do things like clearing sidewalks, helping with planting flowers downtown, putting new Christmas lights and banners up, that sort of thing. This is a fun group. Because of COVID, there have been a lot of grants out there that are available, and so part of my job has also been to communicate with the business community to say, hey, there's this new grant out, you should apply for it. And sometimes businesses will say, I don't know anything about this grant funding, can you help me figure it out? And so I'll help them figure out how to apply and what they can apply for, or at least send them to somebody who has more information than I do. So this has been a very critical part of my job this past year. Now, infrastructure, when we think of infrastructure, we think of roads, but there's so much more to infrastructure than just our roads. We see the roads, we ride on the roads, we feel the roads, we know how awful all the roads are in Michigan, but there's a lot more to it than just roads. One thing that we're spending a lot of focus on is our water and sewer systems. These are all buried underground, and so people don't really see them and think, oh, those need to be updated, because it's just not something you see all the time. But like much of the Upper Peninsula, our water and sewer systems are old. Some of the pipes were put in the ground over 100 years ago, and while some of them are still in decent shape, others are, that they kind of need to be replaced after 100 years. So part of my job is to oversee this reconstruction of these systems. So we just finished up a $7 million project that replaced a lot of water and sewer lines as well as some roads throughout our community. And then this couple years ago, we applied for $21.4 million to replace some roads and infrastructure like water and sewer lines. And we were awarded it. So what I did was I helped a lot with the paperwork on the back end, but then I'll also get to go out into the field and see how the project is progressing and talk with our engineers about what needs to be done and if there's any changes that need to happen, that sort of thing. City management is a great career because every day is different and you really can make a difference.